Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode. Today, we are not doing village to town, today, we are doing the city edition, and I want to take you to the biggest airport in East and Central Africa, which is here in Nairobi, and it goes by the name Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. I will also be using the Nairobi Express Highway, which is one of the most modern infrastructures here in the city, and it stretches from Westlands all the way to Mlolongo area, but I'll be exiting at JKIA. By the end of this video, I want to see whether the road is worth it, how much they charge, is it too much expensive for a commoner? Remember, the road was quite controversial, especially during the campaign era, as it is the first road in Kenya where users have to pay. In the meantime, I will also be showing you the Nairobi skyline from Westlands to city center all the way to Mombasa Road. So stay tuned. But before then, let me take this opportunity to welcome you to our YouTube channel, Village to Town, a channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent of Africa. So make sure you subscribe if you have not done so. It's absolutely free so that you can join me as we move across this beautiful country, documenting every village, town, and city. Now back to the video, and as you can see, I'm just joining Waiyaki Way, which is part of the Great North Road that goes all the way to Egypt. It also serves the western part of this country. But as you just saw, I chose to go south, not north way. So I'm going toward the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And in less than a minute, I'll be joining the Nairobi Expressway. Although this is part of it, but the toll station is a few seconds away. And in case you are not familiar with the city, I started the video at Nyari, which is one of the most affluential neighborhoods in the city. That was Red Hill Waiyaki Way Link Road, which also passes through wealthy neighborhoods such as Kitisuru and Loresho. And the road is a 5-kilometer stretch and was completed in 2019 and started in 2016, fully funded by the Kenyan government at a tune of 3 billion Kenya shillings. And on my left, you have Safaricom PLC headquarters. And remember, Safaricom is the biggest company in Kenya. That is in terms of operating capital and profit margins. And this is Nairobi Westlands area, and we are cruising nicely. And I hope you can start to see some part of Nairobi skyline. We are still far from the city center, which is about 3 to 4 kilometers away, but we'll still get there. And it is at this point where you make the crucial decision whether to use the normal road or the expressway, which will be paying anyway. And so for the old road, you move left, and for the expressway, you move right, 2 lanes each. And if you happen to miss this entry point, you'll have to go all the way to Westlands, which can be a bit chaotic due to heavy traffic jam, which is part of Nairobi city. And for your information, this road was completed in 2022, around August. In fact, it was one of the flagship projects for the then President Uhuru Kenyatta. And funny enough, no taxpayer coin was used. The project was under private-public partnership, PPP. I'll be telling you more about that, but let me get the ticket first.
Mambo? JKI?
As I was telling you, the government of Kenya contracted a Chinese company by the name China Road and Bridge Corporation to build this toll road on a public-private partnership program, PPP, meaning that the Chinese contractor had to use his own money to build the road, and then he will collect toll fee until his investment is recovered. I'm told that after this, the government will take the road back. Well, most Kenya did not understand the PPP model, and this led to this road being used as a campaign machinery where all sorts of propagandas were created by different candidates. In fact, I overheard a presidential candidate asking how could the government use the public money to build a public road and charge the public to use the road. Another candidate for the gubernatorial seat was on record stating that after clenching the seat, he will take the road from the Chinese contractor and let the public use it for free. Well, I'm not giving names as I don't have a lawyer in case I catch a case. And as you all know, I'm not looking for trouble. I've got enough. But that tells you how politicians take advantage of the public naiveness, especially here in Africa. We are still in Westlands area. In fact, below is Westlands Shopping Center. Remember, Westlands is one of the 17 constituencies in Nairobi. I can also see the GTC Towers, which is the second tallest building in the city. You can see it right in front on my left. The building's official name is the Global Trade Center Office, and it is owned by the Avic International, a multinational holding company. I told you it is the second tallest building in the city after the Britam Towers in Upper Hill, as it rises 184 meters tall, which is around 604 feet above ground. It is also good to know that the GTC building have 42 floors, which is quite tall, especially when compared to other buildings here in the city. But I'm sure my friends in the diaspora will still tell me that that's still a dwarf. Well, the building stands on a 7.5 acres piece of land here in Westlands, and it was completed in 2022. Well, we are still cruising nicely, and this communication mast right in front, also on my left, belongs to KBC, which is the short form for the Kenyan Broadcasting Corporation, a state-owned broadcasting house and also the oldest in the country. It is right there in case you didn't know. I can also see the anniversary towers right in front. It's quite popular with university students, as that's where the HELB offices are located, which stands for the Higher Education Loans Board. The towers also host the Electoral and Boundaries Commission's offices here in Kenya, so you can see it's a busy one. I'm sure you are wondering why there's nothing on my right, but that's the famous Uhuru Park, a popular public park here in the city. It used to be free, but not anymore. Well, this building I'm passing by on my left is the famous Nyayo House, which hosts the immigration department. And so if you need your passport renewing or a new one, that's the place to be. I'm your city plug today. While the building in front, also on my left, is the Bunge Tower. And Bunge is Swahili for parliament. So this is the government area. And this building was recently opened by the president. But I think the best English term is being commissioned. While below is the Haile Selassie roundabout, and that tells you that we just left the Nairobi CBD. We are still cruising nicely on this 27.1 kilometers road, and airport is not far from here, and so I'll be giving you statistics before we get there. And as I told you, this very road was completed in 2022 at a cost of between $510 million and $650 million, which is between 51 billion Kenya shillings and 65 billion Kenya shillings, which in my own views is quite expensive. I don't know why government projects are that expensive. Well, let's go to the statistics segment. And it is good to note that this is Nairobi City, the capital of Kenya, which is also the biggest city in East and Central Africa. And the city has a population of 4,750,000 people, which is about 10% of the Kenya's population. Remember, during the last general census, the Kenyan population was estimated at around 50 million people. The 4.7 million people is an estimation as of 2023 July, meaning the population has increased with around 400,000 people from 4.3 million as of 2019. So currently the city's population is at its highest, as in 1979, the population was only 827,000 people. In 1989, it was estimated at 1.3 million, And in 1999, the population rose to 2.1 million people, and in 2009, it increased to 3.1 million people. And so you can do your maths. It seems like the city population has been increasing with 1 million after every 10 years. And so the annual population change is estimated at 2.0 per annum. Well, the 2% is a percentage, and in terms of the population density, the city has 6,748 people living in a square kilometer. That's an average. And remember, I told you in our last video that a square kilometer is equal to 250 acres of land. And so we can safely say that the city is densely populated, and in terms of gender distribution, it stands at 50-50, as there are 2.37 million men and 2,376,000 women. And so you can see the number of women is slightly higher than that of their male counterparts, but they are almost equal, which is a normal distribution. And when it comes to age distribution, the majority of the city dwellers are youths, and that is according to the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics. As out of the 4.7 million Kenyans living in Nairobi City, 1.4 million are aged between 0 and 14, while 3,185,000 are aged between 15 and 64 years. Well, that is the majority, but this is where it gets interesting, as those aged 65 and above, which is the age group we can consider as old, they are only 78,986. Well, that's quite a small number, as it accounts for about 1.6% of the total population, meaning that out of 100 people that you meet in the city, only 1 or 2 are aged 65 and above. That's quite absurd. I wonder where you people go after retirement. But I'm aware that the city is not suitable for old people, especially if you don't own a home, as life can be quite expensive here. You can imagine that you are renting a house for an average of 20,000 Kenya shillings, and you have a family to feed. You don't have a stable income, and you are aged 65 and above. You can see it is just advisable to move back to the village. Still on the age distribution, and the number of people decreases the higher you go. As for instance, those aged 80 and above are only 11,056 people. That is out of the 4.7 million city dwellers. For those aged between 70 and 79, there are only 31,007 people, while for the age set between 60 and 69, there are 99,000 people. Well, the median age set is the age group between 0 and 9 years, which has 1,003,000 people, meaning that the number of children is quite high, meaning that the fertility rate is not bad off. And for the teenagers aged between 10 and 19, the number's 930,000. Well, enough with the statistics. I don't want to bug you with the numbers. They can be quite tiresome. And I want to tell you about the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, just a little bit, which I'll be hitting in a few minutes. To start with, this is the biggest airport in the country, and it is located in the Embakasi suburb, which is 18 kilometers south of Nairobi, which is about 11 miles. And according to the government data, the airport has scheduled flights to destinations in over 50 countries. This tells you that it is one of the busiest airports in the region. In fact, it served over 7 million passengers in 2016. And that being about 8 years ago, you can do your maths and see what kind of an airport we are talking about here. I'm told that originally the airport was called Embakasi Airport, but it changed its name in 1978 to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And this was immediately after the death of the founding father, Jomo Kenyatta. I'm told that it was originally constructed by the colonial government in 1958. In fact, it was opened by the then governor, Sir Evelyn Baring. In fact, he was the last governor before Jomo Kenyatta became the first prime minister in 1963. As you can see, I'm about to exit. The airport is right here. I'll be telling you more about that.
110. Saan? Kan 510. 410? Sita, nilivyojasa wakasi.
Well, the journey costed me exactly 410 Kenya shillings, which is exactly 3.5 US dollars. That is from Westlands to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, which is a stretch of about 25 kilometers. That's an estimation. And remember I told you that the entire road is about 27 kilometers as it ends in Mlolongo area, which is about a kilometer from here. In fact, I can see it on my right. A very fascinating town. In fact, I want to do a video about it one of these fine days. It has a great history touching on trucking and prostitution. Well, let's leave that for some day. Well, if you take a look on my left, this is the airport area. And it extends all the way. So I'm sure at this point you cannot figure it out as it is so big. In fact, it has two terminals. And I'm sure most of you know Terminal 1, which has 1A, B, C, E, and D. And in fact, Terminal 1A alone has a capacity of about 2.5 million passengers. The current runway is about 60 meters wide and 4.2 kilometers long. But I'm told that the government is planning to build a new one at a cost of $370 million. And the runway will be about 5.5 kilometers, that is in length, and 75 meters wide. Well, let me leave it at that because of security reasons, but show some love by subscribing to this channel. Like the video so that it can be recommended to as many people as possible, and smash the notification bell so that every time we post, you'll be among the first few people to be notified.